Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, and today we have another special guest, and she goes by the name of Chelsea Root. You know, one thing we don't talk about enough on this show is the role of ophthalmology. It's dealing with the eyes, but it's complex. We've had one other guest, but only one, and now we finally have another. And if this is a space you've been interested in, this is something you absolutely want to listen to. What we hear is that a lot of people that are in the medical device space that want a less demanding career, but still want to make amazing money and have a huge impact, flock to this space. And it's also nice to know that people that had no experience at all have opportunities in this space. But I'm not going to say any more. I don't want to spoil it. So as always, we do our best to bring you guests that are doing things differently in the medical sales space. And I really do hope you enjoy this interview. All right, Chelsea, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. No complaints. Why don't you tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Chelsea Root, and I work in the ophthalmic device space, selling the medical device equipment that goes into cataract operating rooms.
Ooh, so let's talk about it. What exactly is the ophthalmic device space? We have a lot of people listening that have never even heard of it. Please educate us.
Sure. So ophthalmology is actually divided into quite a few subspecialties as well. So everybody thinks that eye would be specific enough, and it's not. So you have everything from the front of the eye, which is typically your cataract and your refractive surgeries like LASIK. You have retina, which is the back of the eye, not the space that I am in. I primarily focus on the cataract space. So basically, I'm sure everyone has heard about their family member that when they get to 60, 70 years old, they need cataract surgery. It's the number one performed procedure in the United States. And so I focus on the front of the eye in the ophthalmology field. So ophthalmology is specific to eye surgery. So you have your optometry, which is more your contact lenses, when you go in for contacts, glasses, prescriptions, that type of thing. And then you have your ophthalmology space, which is the actual eye surgery.
Okay, that makes sense. So is this something that you started in, or did you graduate into this? How did you get here?
Sure. So I was actually a human biology major at Michigan State. I thought that I wanted to be a orthodontist. And so I decided to leave college and start getting some medical experience for my dental school resume, essentially. So I took a job working as an ophthalmic scribe, which is basically somebody that assists the surgeon all day in clinic, takes their notes for them, does all their charting, billing, etc. And then from there, I went into surgery counseling, where I was actually counseling the patients on what their surgery options were. And then I went from that to actually working for the medical device manufacturers. So started in a more clinical role, helping practices with their marketing strategies. And then from there, it was like, well, why are the sales reps making so much money and I'm doing all the grunt work? So never thought I would be a sales rep, but got into medical sales, then the rest is history.
Wow. So in your role, is it an autonomous role? Do you have a team? How is it all set up?
Sure. So I cover the east half of the country. I direct all of our ophthalmic portfolio sales for our company. And then I do have field reps. So I have about 9 or 10 technicians at any given time that actually assist the surgeon with every case on the device. I have a few sales reps that work with me to help get new users onto our device. And then I also have some practice development specialists. And so what they do is they help increase the conversion rate to premium cataract surgeries. So the device that I sell is an upcharge for the patients. And so there is a big education component that goes along with that. So how do we educate our patients so that they opt for this option when it's time for their surgery?
And I assume that the sales reps are in high communication with the product specialists and everyone else in high communication with the technicians, or is it a little bit more to each is their own and maybe everyone's reporting to you and you're the one playing point for all the different teams?
Yeah, I kind of joke and just say that I'm air traffic control. So I
Like,
connect routinely for sure with every single person on the team every week. But yes, every time that they have a contract that they want to get through, I'd help them along with all of those things. And then I travel every single week into one of their territories and assist them. So maybe they have a surgeon that they think, is going to be interested in this technology, help them with the sales meeting, or maybe it's a surgeon having some clinical struggles that maybe they need help in the operating room. Or it can even be over at the practice. The doctor's saying, I thought 45% of my patients would opt for this premium option and they're not. How do we better market this? So maybe it's a day that I put on scrubs, shadow the surgeon, for the entire day and help them with their patient education.
so with this position then, talk to us a little bit about the type of person. Okay, let's do it in two ways. Go through a day in the life of someone brand new to this space. What's their day looking like? What are they doing? And then I want to get into the type of person that should be doing this kind of role. But let's get into day in the life first. Give us a day in the life of this role.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We get a lot of people from the spine side of things, reps that want a better work-life balance. So I would say that, you're definitely not working only your 40 hours, but the work-life balance is quite a bit better. So we typically try to have our first cut or our first surgery starting at, 7:30 is usually the first cut. So we're all there by 6 in the morning, but we're done by 2. Um, at 2 o'clock, you might have a surgeon dinner afterwards. You might be running some products here or there. But I would say that routinely you're done pretty early. We also don't operate for the most part on Fridays, so that's a big bonus. You might be traveling in the night prior to surgery, if depending on the size of your territory, to stay in a hotel room the night prior to surgery day, just so that you're not waking up at 3 in the morning to get where you need to go.
Sure.
But I would say daily life is actually going to the surgery center, changing into the facility scrubs and being with the surgeons for their cases. And then, in my role, I'm very fortunate that I get to spend a good amount of time over at the practice as well.
So how many surgeries would you say someone that gets into this position can expect to conduct?
How many surgeons?
I'm sorry. How many surgeries a day?
Oh, so that's what's unique about this space. It's about a 4 to 7 minute case.
Oh,
So we have surgeons that maybe are only doing maybe 10 surgeries a day. I have surgeons that are doing 35 in a case day. So, what I love about this space is, it moves really, really, really quick. So your day goes really fast. You might not have time to eat, but you kind of look at your watch and you're like, wow, 2 o'clock already. We've already seen 35 patients. So
wait. Okay, so normally then you're going to one account. You're staying there the entire day as opposed to going to multiple procedures in different offices throughout the entire day.
So it depends. So there's a lot of hand-holding when the surgeon is new to the device. I'll typically stay with them for their entire first case day.
Okay.
Once they're established and up and running, yeah, maybe you're running some products over to another account. There's definitely the same things that happen with spine where, the patient is draped and somebody forgot to order what they needed. And so you might have to drop what you're doing and run something over or use a courier service. I do a lot of lunches, whether that be bringing a lunch in and doing a lunch and learn over at the clinic, or maybe bringing lunch in, for Nurses Week or whatever over at the surgery center. Or I definitely make sure to provide lunch on, first case days so that the staff feels appreciated. Learning new things is hard. So we really try to make sure that they have a good experience with their first go.
That is wonderful. Okay. So, in addition to you being in this space, I know you have a little bit of a unique approach to it. Please share with us how the setup is for you specifically.
So I work for a medical device mobilizer. And so what that means is that instead of, the equipment that I sell is, a good $400,000, and it requires a $50,000 a year maintenance agreement for the account. What a medical device mobilizer does is they will sign contracts with multiple different hospitals in the area, and they will actually roll the equipment from facility to facility, and each facility will stack all of their cases on that day. So what it does is it helps rural hospitals, smaller volume hospitals get the same technology so that they can compete with the larger hospitals. So my equipment specifically is typically brought into each facility 2 times a month. So we'll come and say first and third Wednesday for, Dr. Smith. First and third Wednesday of each month, and he stacks all of his cases on a day. At the end of the case day, we pack up that laser. It goes to the next facility and gets a 2-hour calibration and install for, Dr. Johnson the following day.
That is so cool. Wow. Okay. So, thinking about your role, thinking about being part of a mobilizer, and thinking about the demand, what type of person would you say you need to be? Maybe the top 3 things you got to have if you're going to be a successful rep in the ophthalmology space.
I would say very, very organized. Ophthalmology is very precise. You're dealing with optics. Everybody's eye, has different power. And so making sure that you're super organized. I love seeing reps that write everything down. It's easy to forget. It's easy for especially when you're doing 35 cases in a single day, things can blend together. The other thing that's unique to our space is that, we have left eye and right eye, or OS and OD as we call them in the eye space. So just double checking, that timeout is serious. We don't want anybody getting the wrong eye done on surgery day. So I would say very organized. I would say early riser. This is not your, travel in the middle of the night case. We're starting super early and we're done early, but it's a very early day. And then I would say, I don't like to ever say bubbly because I've seen a lot of different personality types succeed in this space, but I would say a very positive mindset. Ophthalmology is a really groovy field. It's really high tech. It's kind of similar in a lot of ways to maybe like the dental field or the aesthetic spaces, in that a lot of the cases that are being done, patients are paying an upcharge for, a premium for, out of pocket. Not all of the cases done, especially LASIK is definitely done with the patient's cash. So it is a different feel than maybe a case that's just being covered by insurance.
Sure.
The other unique thing in ophthalmology is that the patients are not completely out. It is a twilight anesthesia. So, they're hearing everything going on in the room. So even if something's going really, really bad, everyone needs to be calm. Don't react, at least not verbally. So.
Right. No, I get it. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. Okay, so in this space, let's go back to the same another question in the same vein.
Mhm.
Besides the opposite of what you said, what type of person probably would not have fun in this space? Probably wouldn't enjoy it or be motivated to do this every day.
So, I would say that eyes can be very, very repetitive. Cataract surgery is a pretty, if everything's going well, a very routine procedure. So you do need to understand that every case is going to look similar. Um, as long as everything's going well, of course. There's reps that I've seen that maybe come from the ortho space and they get to see a lot of different cases,
Right.
especially like trauma reps. Every case is different. So if you're kind of an adrenaline junkie, it's probably not for you. Where you might pass the ortho room and they've got rock blasting and everything in their OR. Ours is typically classical. So you just have to know that everything's calm. There's a lot of finesse to it. It's a very, very tiny procedure, very, very precise procedure. So, you're not causing a lot of vibration in the room. You're not setting your laptop up on top of the laser in the middle of the procedure. Actually, really, you should just avoid bumping that laser at all throughout the case day. So it's just a very meticulous field. So if you're somebody that kind of wants to pop in and it's a 2 hour long case and you want that flexibility, it's really not the procedure for you. If you are 7 minutes late, you miss the case in
Wow.
this
Yeah.
specialty. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's real. Okay. And then how do you make it all work? You're a jet setter. You're responsible for so many people that report to you. Uh, family, kids, how do you manage it all? Or are you living the solo life and that's how you get it all done?
So, dual income, no kid life. We both are reps, so we're both on the road all the time. Our general rule of thumb is kind of try to leave on Monday and get home as early as you can.
Wow.
So we do the best that we can, but I did relocate from Michigan to be near Chicago O'Hare. That way I wasn't spending my life on connectors. I would say anybody that knows me knows I'm the most organized person on this earth. So I would say just being organized is really what it comes down to. I get really stressed if the house is a mess when I leave for a business trip. Everything needs to be perfect before I leave, so that when I come back, it's the same. And then I would say, setting aside time for those things that can just get rolled over by the day-to-day grind.
Sure.
So I do, 1 hour of prospecting old leads that, maybe that are really, really cold leads, but I spend 1 hour prospecting every Monday on those. I set aside 1 hour every Monday for just, keeping surgeons. I cover 22 states. So making sure that I shoot them a text, ask them how their kids are if I have a personal relationship with
Yeah.
them. Hey, I saw this article. I think it might be of interest to you, that type of thing. So making sure that I have that deep connection with my accounts, even though I can't see them every day. This is not like ortho where you are with the surgeon for every case. You're very likely going to miss hundreds of their cases in between each time they see you.
Sure.
So
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. Um, so you're a first time leader, so you have a lot that you need to manage, and like you just said, 22 states. That's not a small number.
no.
But with the direct reports, the sales reps, how much travel would you say this space requires?
Sure. So it really kind of for ophthalmology specifically, if you are just the surgical portfolio, the stuff that's being used in the operating room every day, maybe the lens implants that are going into the eye, the capital equipment that's in the OR, you might have your small territory, maybe like 3 reps per state, where you're probably within a 2.5, 3 hour range of home at all times. If you're a district manager, you're going to have 6 reps reporting to you, and you might have, 4 or 5 states, and you're expected to try to see each rep within your territory for a ride along week at least once a year. Obviously, I try to be with my new reps as much as possible. So it really kind of just depends on what part of the industry you're in, but there's certainly roles for everybody. There's roles like me where you're covering half the country. There's roles for people that want to be within a couple hours. of home every day. But
Gotcha.
I would say what I routinely see is, unless you're in a like super densely populated metropolitan area, you're gonna have at least an hour and a half range at minimum.
An hour and a half range. Got it. Okay. Well, this is fantastic. And, I think you've given us a really good foundation of what it means to be in ophthalmology and what it means to be part of a mobilizer. Anything else you would share to our audience? Remember, our audience are people that want to get in, people that are in different types of medical sales, and of course, people that are leading the way. Anything else you want to share with our audience before we wrap it up today?
I think the main thing I would say is that I get so many people that are like, "Oh, I've always wanted to get a medical device. I've always, heard it's super lucrative. I want a piece of that industry." And I always tell people, like, you have to be someone that's hungry. This is not a you show up and you do your 40 hours every single week routine, where you're just farming like business that's already existing. This is definitely, at least in my role, it's definitely a lot of hunting. So you have to have your why at home. I don't have kids, but my husband and I both have expensive adult hobbies that we enjoy, kind of participating in on the weekends. And I am in the horse industry, and it's kind of notorious for being an expensive hobby, but it's been my why. People say that, why would you do that? It costs so much money. And I said, it's been the best thing that's ever happened in my career. It's an expensive hobby, so I have to make a lot of money. And so, every day that I go out and I sell, I'm like, yeah, it's pony funds, And so, I think if you're somebody that just, you think you want to make a lot of money, but really you're pretty comfortable, it's probably not the gig for you. You have to have a why at all. College education for kids to pay for is a really common one, for sure.
Sure.
Something along those lines. But the reps that think that they're going to check out at 2 and they really don't care what's going on in their territory.
Hard lesson they're about to learn. Hard lesson they're about to learn.
Hard lesson to learn, for sure. So if you're not willing to pick up the phone at 9 o'clock at night when you have that one surgeon that they need an answer and they need it now, it's not the industry for you. So I can pretty much be anywhere as long as I have my phone and laptop. And so I'm busy all the time, but I do have some flexibility with it as well.
That is fantastic. With that being said, we have one more thing to do before we let you go. It's called the lightning round. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, you have less than seconds to answer 4 questions.
Okay.
First question is, what is the best book you've read in the last 6 months?
Best book I've read. Not a big reader. This is a tricky one. I actually just read a real estate investing book called Buy, Rehab, Refinance, Repeat. It's the BRRRR strategy. Highly recommend it if you're looking to save some money on
One more time, what's the book called?
It's BRRRR, Buy, Rehab, Rent, Refinance, Repeat.
Nice. And who's the author?
Well, that is by David Green. It's actually sitting next to me. So
has it led to like some potential purchases or what? I mean,
we do invest in real estate on the weekends. So medical sales is a grind. I don't know how long I could do the 100 flights a year. So someday I need to have a retirement plan.
Hey, that book is happening. I can't wait to read it. Okay, next question. What is the best TV show or movie you've seen in the last 6 months?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna judge me for this. I am a Gilmore Girls fan on repeat. I think there's so much I think there's so much negativity in the world. I love that I know every line. That's my go-to.
That is awesome. No, that is a fantastic show to lighten up your day. So more power to you.
Thanks.
And then what is the best meal you've had in the last 6 months? We want the restaurant and the item.
The restaurant and the item. I would say Chicago deep dish at Giordano's Pizza.
Ooh.
If you're gonna go to Chicago, you gotta have the pizza. So
there it is.
Pretty casual, yeah, as a whole. I feel like in this industry you get to go to so many business dinners.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then last question, what's the best experience you've had in the last 6 months?
Best experience I've had in the last 6 months. I would say this industry has allowed me to get back into competing in the horse world. I competed a ton as a youth, and because of the money generated from this career, I was able to get back. So 33 years old, competing again,
Hey,
and it's a lot of fun.
you're very young. You have the whole future of competing ahead of you. Let me
Oh my, I don't know, those knees are going. Things are starting to hurt a little bit more.
is there anywhere we can, like a YouTube channel or somewhere we can find you to watch you compete or anything like that?
I am on Instagram and
Okay.
on LinkedIn as well. It's just Chelsea Root is just my handle on Instagram. So feel free to find me or reach out if you have questions. Always happy to help.
Everyone, that will be in the show notes, so make sure you check her out. Chelsea, it was fantastic spending this time with you. We can't
Nice to meet
wait to see all the amazing things you do in this industry. Thank you for the
you.
time.
Thank you.
And that was Chelsea Root. Fascinating stuff. You know, ophthalmology is one of those spaces that I'd like to call almost like a secret society. People know it's there, but they don't know a lot about it. But if you listen to this episode and thought to yourself, whoa, this is exactly what I want to do, then you know exactly what I'm going to say. You need to go to evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out our application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you exactly where you want to be. And another thing she mentioned that we didn't talk too much about was that mobilizer. You know, another thing that we see are people that want to be in capital equipment. They know that that's their future. At some point, they can use that type of space with a mobilizer where the equipment is that's being sold is being rented as opposed to anything else as a stepping stone to get to capital equipment. It's something to consider. And again, if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, how do I do that? Then you know what I'm going to say. Visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out our application, schedule some time, and again, let's get you to where you want to be. As always, we do our best to bring you guests who do things differently in the medical sales space. So make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the Medical Sales Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.